Okay, everyone got quiet. That's good. Welcome. Great to see such a great crowd today. Momentous occasion for Blinn College. Really happy to see all these former trustees that have taken their time to come and share their thoughts with us today. We'll go ahead and get started. The Texas Government Code permits this Board of Trustees to meet in a closed executive session for the following reasons, among others: to consult with the college district's attorneys on matters deemed privileged by the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct or Government Code 551.071, to deliberate regarding real property under 551.072, a prospective gift under 551.073, certain personnel matters under 551.074, security devices or security audits under 551.076, and economic development negotiations under 551.087. If the board meets in a closed session, we will announce the particular section under which we will be doing so prior to initiating the closed portion of the meeting. So it's my pleasure to introduce two students that we've got with us today. For the invocation, we've got Rashida Stewart. She's a vocal music major from Brenham, Texas, who is currently in her 4th year at Blinn College, graduating this coming semester. And the pledge will be with Sarah E. Mendoza. She's a vocal music major from Old Washington, Texas, one of my favorite places. She is currently in her 4th year at Blinn College. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing everyone here today for this meeting, and we ask that you would lead and guide everyone in wisdom and decision-making throughout the meeting, and pray for your protection and covering over their daily task. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, ladies, again for being here and helping us with that today. So many of you are aware that we just recently had a very significant passing in our community with Gus Mutcher, former Speaker of the Texas House, tremendous supporter of Blinn College throughout his entire lifetime. And just in honor of Gus, today I would like to just have a moment of silence, if you don't mind. Thank you. Okay, no one has signed up for public comment, so we will move on to item number 4 in reports, the Chancellor's Administrative Report. Dr. Hensley.
Trustees, this afternoon we have a little bit of a different kind of a board meeting. Today is our 140th year anniversary, and in a few moments I'll go through the sequence of how we're going to do my board report. But before we do, I have one one retiree that we would like to recognize today, and in doing so I'd ask Lori Clark to come forward. As many of you may know, Lori and I have worked together for quite a number of years. Before she came to Blinn, she worked at Austin Community College, and she held countless opportunities to oversee many, many departments. I'm going to name a few because, Lori, we have such a packed audience. I want them to know the contributions that you have made to higher education. Lori was campus college operations manager. In Austin, we had 11 campuses and 6 centers and 46,000 plus students. It's a very large responsibility. And her role was to be the go-to person for so many different divisions. All of the campuses, all of the centers, all of student services, all of IT, all of libraries, all of instructional resources, all media, all campus scheduling, all grant development, all early college start, which was dual credit, and I could go on and on and on. She was the point person for all of those many, many activities, and she handled things beautifully. When I came to Blinn, I hoped that perhaps Lori might come, and ultimately she did. And she has been here for 8 years. And I'm so grateful, trustees and those in the audience, that I'm the one who can speak to Lori and wish her so many beautiful days ahead in her retirement. I know Lori, she's going to be busy every single day. She's going to be camping, I hope, and she's going to be visiting with family, and she's going to be attending her church services. One thing I can tell you that I also know that she won't be doing, Lori does not cook. Lori opens up cans and boxes. And so this has been a long-standing joke between us that, you know, what are you going to open up tonight for dinner? Lori's husband is a pilot, and he flies literally all over the world. And in some ways, she was a single mother raising 2 beautiful children because he was gone so often. But I believe now that they have decided that this is the moment for them and for their family. And so we're so grateful to recognize you today, and I thank the trustees in the audience for letting me have the opportunity to have a personal touch to my comments today. Well, Lori joined Blinn in November of 2015, and she came in as the Special Assistant to the Executive Vice President and General Counsel. And then in 2017, she was named Special Assistant to the Chancellor and the Board of Trustees. And in October 2022, she was named Assistant for Executive Operations. During her tenure at Blinn, she has served as a liaison to the Board of Trustees, assisted in planning of board meetings, and coordinated a wide variety of campus events, including grand openings, signing ceremonies, and other campus celebrations. I remember a comment that Trustee Mosier made to me one time. You may not remember this, but years ago you said something to the effect to me of, "What all does Lori do?" And then you said, "I've already figured it out. She's the person that keeps the train on the tracks." And I said to you, that's it. That's exactly what she does. Lori, I looked over at our photos on the wall of all of our former trustees. And I don't know if you know how many you have worked with, but I do. 18 trustees that she has served directly. And I just want to say, on behalf of the administration and our faculty and staff and students, I cannot wish you anything but the most joyous days ahead, filled with blessings and lots of love, lots of free time, no cooking, lots of RVing. But we will miss you, Lori, and I know the trustees will too. And I know that they would like the opportunity to have a moment to just shake your hand. So thank you so very much. We're thrilled for you, and congratulations on your retirement. And I know the trustees would like to say so as well.
Good job. Oh, yeah. Don't forget, we got
See,
the
she's the
part.
person that keeps the train.
We were prepared for that.
Gosh.
I know. We know the drill now.
And so, I'm on. I don't know if it, there it goes. Lori, thank you so much for all of your service. I can't wish you anything but lots of love and happiness. I believe Mr. Colcourse might like to say something and give you something, and then afterwards you may wish to say something as well.
Lori, we've got a watch for you and a certificate, but most of all, we're going to send you with a lot of love. I mean, I can speak for all of these guys. You really made our lives easy as trustees. Keeping the trains on the track is an understatement. So thank you for all that you did, and enjoy your retirement.
And Lori, is there anything you'd like to say?
I'm not normally a speaker, so thank you for everything to all of you back here. And as I was thinking this morning, this is just an appropriate time for me to leave with all of these former trustees here that I worked with. So I am going to do camping, and I've got some traveling that I'm going to do, but most of all, I'm not setting an alarm clock. So.
Thank you. All right, we'll step forward and take a photo.
All right, I'll count to 3, and 1, 2, 3, and one more time. 1, 2, 3. Perfect, thank you.
Well, to continue, trustees, this month marks a milestone in the history of Blinn College as we celebrate our 140th anniversary since the college's founding in 1883. To help us celebrate our proud history, we have invited Dr. Donald Volter, the 12th president of Blinn College, to give a special presentation discussing Blinn's history. We also have invited each former member of the Board of Trustees to join us today and reflect upon their tenure with the board. In addition to the 10 former trustees in attendance today, we also received messages from those who were unable to join us, and it will be my pleasure to share their written remarks with you. Following the trustees' comments, we would like to take a photo of our current and former trustees with a cake from our food services department baked for this occasion. We will then take a brief recess so that everyone may have a slice of cake and take additional photos, and we also have lunch in the kitchen if you desire as well. As we step outside to the foyer, Blinn staff will hand these out. They are custom limited edition coins commemorating Blinn's 140th birthday to everyone who is in attendance today. And then, upon our return, we will follow with our discussion of Blinn's proud history with a presentation from Dr. Joyce Lannenegger, Dean of Academic Support Services, who will discuss the Future Works Academy and its exciting role in the future of Blinn College. At the conclusion of their remarks, then I will return the floor at that time to Chair Colkhorst. Let's begin. As you may know, trustees, Dr. Volter's service to Blinn spanned 38 years, including 15 as president. Prior to being named president in 1994, he served as a business instructor, director of the Occupational Education Division, business manager, and executive vice president of fiscal affairs. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Volter.
Thank you, Dr. Hensley. I'm excited to be here today. Board Chair, members of the board, administration, faculty, and staff, and guests. I'm here to talk to you about the history of Blinn College. Blinn College was founded on March the 18th in 1883. It was founded by the Southern German Methodist Conference to train young men for the ministry. This is the first building built in 1884, just a single structure frame house. The first class had 3 students in it. Reverend Carl Urbanke was called on to organize the college and be the first president. That's him in the middle of the picture with the cane. We assume the younger people in the picture were the 3 students. In 1887, Reverend Christian Blinn from New York visited Brenham and donated the money and the materials to build another larger structure, and he built a 2-story building that we'll see in just a minute. Before he left Brenham, he promised more help financially, and so in 1888, he sent $10,000 for the endowment fund. The picture in a minute shows that he gave a large sum of money. At that time, $10,000 was a large sum of money. So in 1889, the name of the college was changed to Blinn Memorial College in honor of Reverend Christian Blinn and his family. In 1888, the school was changed to be coeducational, which helped enrollment quite a bit. The school was organized into departments, and you see the departments up there: theological, normal, music, and preparatory, and you see the number of students. The total enrollment was 89 in 1989, and you see that preparatory students was the largest category. You could be in Blinn at the age of 12 and in the 3rd grade. So that's the reason the preparatory class was so large, because it had a lot of younger kids that we think in elementary and junior high and high school today. The building that Reverend Blinn built is the building that you see in that picture there, and it was called Old Main, believe it or not. From 1900 to 1905, the college struggled financially. A new modern building was needed, more land was needed, so the board formed a committee to come up with solutions, even considering a different site. Proposals were received from Waco, Seguin, and Brenham. And conference that summer, they voted for Brenham, so Blinn College did stay in Brenham in 1905. The vote in that conference was 20 to 15 for Blinn to stay in Brenham. In 1906, the Old Main was dedicated on the Brenham campus. Blinn Memorial College continued to struggle, though, with low enrollment and financial problems for many of the early years. It reached a crisis in 1926 when they decided to look into starting a junior college. So in 1927, a junior college was formed and had its first session. As a side note, athletics, particularly football, in 1927 was a big reason for increase in enrollment, and they were very happy about that. The financial situation at Blinn became even worse during the Depression, and several of the leaders decided that if we merged with another institution, there would be good benefit from that. So in 1930, they merged with Southwestern University in Georgetown. And as you know, that is a Methodist university as well. Well, the situation changed, but it didn't help very much. In 1934, the Southwestern Board voted to cease all operations with Blinn College. And then in 1937, all relationships with Southwestern and the Methodist denomination were severed. In 1934, work began to organize the college, the junior college, in a taxing district. So the plan was for Austin County and Washington County to go together and be the taxing district. Well, that plan fell through. So in 1934, in an emergency situation, the people of Brenham came forward and they pledged financial support for the maintenance fund for 18 months. And the school then was chartered as a private, non-sectarian junior college in March of 1934. An election then was held in Washington County on May 11th, 1935 to approve a junior college district. Yeah, I said 35. The slide says 37. Well, 35, it failed. The rural people outvoted the city people, and it did not pass. Well, the board at the time elected Charles F. Schmidt as president, and he was determined to make that election go, and he promoted it. And then in June of 1937, the election passed, and Blinn College, the junior college district of Washington County, became the first county-owned junior college in Texas. Then more good news, in 1941, the state passed state appropriations of $50 per student for all public junior colleges in the state. Many good things happened to Blinn between 1937 and 1970, but there were no major milestones. Then in 1970, Blinn was invited to offer courses on the Allen Military Campus in Bryan. This was approved by General Earl Rudder, who was president of Texas A&M at the time. And so Blinn started offering night courses because Allen Academy had discontinued their junior college program. And this was a start of much more to come. 1972, the college operations were moved to the Kraft Building in Bryan. It was a 2-story office building in downtown Bryan. Then in 1982, the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, in their wisdom, passed a rule that an extension or a branch campus could not have more than 1,000 students at it. So as a result, Blinn had to find another zip code to have a campus. So we renovated and moved into the Woodstone Shopping Center on Harvey Road in College Station, and operated from there for a number of years. Then in 1989, the Kraft Building campus was moved to the Townshire Shopping Center on Texas Avenue. We renovated the building, and it was a much larger facility. We needed a lot of furniture. So I went to Dallas to Bishop College auction. Bishop College went out of business and we're selling everything. I spent a week up there going from room to room to room, raising my hand, bidding on equipment and furniture. How are we going to get that back to the Townshire Shopping Center? Sealy Mattress Company, Brenham, Texas. They had hauled mattresses up to the Dallas area in the big 18-wheelers. They would come by with an empty 18-wheeler, pick up the furniture, take it to the Townshire Shopping Center. Glenn Benke was in charge of transportation at Sealy at that time. 1991, Blinn rented and renovated the old post office building in Bryan, and that was our Allied Health Center. We had started several new Allied Health programs at the time. Middle of the 90s, there were a lot of disputes amongst junior colleges. Well, who can offer courses in that town? Who can offer courses in that town? So all the junior college presidents got together around round tables and decided, agreed upon service areas. Then the state legislature passed a law that legalized all of these service areas, and this is our service area today. Then in 1997, Blinn College builds the Bryan campus where it is today. We built 3 large buildings, 2-story buildings, for a total of about 120,000 square feet. The city of Bryan had come to Blinn and said, if you'll expand in Bryan, we will sell revenue bonds and buy land, construct the buildings, and then lease the facilities to the college. Well, Blinn had hired a consultant then to find sites. He studied 11 sites. He came up with a recommendation of where it is now at Villa Maria and 29th Street, which was the old Schulman Drive-In Theater. The city of Bryan and Blinn got along great. Everything was running smoothly until the citizens in the neighborhood across Villa Maria decided they didn't want Blinn there. So they sued the city. Blinn joined in the lawsuit and had negotiations, and it was finally settled out of court. The city of Bryan did great in financing the land and the school and the construction of the building, but there was nothing for furniture and equipment there either. So we go to our state representative, Dan Kubiak, and asked for special item appropriations. Joe Romo was his aide at the time. He handed me a form, pointed me to a closet that had a typewriter in it, and said, type up the request. And I'm thinking, well, how much do I want to ask for? $1 million sounded like a pretty good round number, so I typed in $1 million. Dan ran with it, and they approved a special item appropriation for $1 million. A lot of that furniture that we bought in Bryan came from the Texas Prison Industries, which is part of the Texas Department of Corrections, and they made furniture. Blinn paid lease agreements to the city of Bryan for a number of years, but then did take over ownership of the property. In 1997, Judge Ed Janetska from Fayette County, he was a county judge in Fayette County, came to me and said, oh, do I have a good deal for you approach? He said, you need to rent and renovate the old Bishop Forrest High School and start classes here in Schulenburg. Well, we started talking about financing, and the city got busy, and they passed a 1/2 cent economic development sales tax. And we used that then to operate the college. The Fayette County jail inmates also helped in the demolition of inside of the building. The financial support was approximately $140,000 a year, and it lasted for a number of years. In 2001, I consider this a milestone. The team program was started with Texas A&M University, and I think all of you are familiar with the team program. Dr. Barbara Pearson on the Bryan campus was very instrumental in getting that agreement passed. Then the Economic Development Foundation from Sealy approached Blinn about establishing a campus in Sealy. We talked about financing and support, and nothing ever materialized. However, from the service area slide, Sealy is at the very southern tip of our service area. And if we had refused to go into Sealy, they would have invited Wharton Junior College, and I'm sure Wharton would have gone in. But we still have that campus today, and wish it was a little better, but it is what it is. Then in 2018, all of you know, Blinn opened the Walter C. Schwartz building at the Rellis campus as part of an innovative partnership between Blinn and the Texas A&M University system. And you know about its success and what it's doing today. And here we are, 140 years later. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Walter.
all of us have been looking forward to your presentation, and you did an outstanding job. I know that we have a number of trustees to call upon, and I'm going to call upon them in the order from as far ago when they first began up to the present. But I'm aware that one trustee, Stacy Aschenbach, must leave about 2 minutes ago. So is she here? If she is, she's not here. Okay. Well, then let's go ahead and begin. I'd like now to invite to the podium former trustee Joe Alpicone, who served on the board from 1974 through 1991.
Thank you, Dr. Hensley. Good afternoon, everyone. Wow, happy anniversary, Blinn College, 140 years. How do I tell you in just a few minutes how great it is and awesome to be a part of this milestone that we're celebrating today. Dr. Volter, thank you for your kind remarks about the history of Blinn. Brought back a lot of memories. However, as we celebrate the past, we must recognize that the past brings on new beginnings. As Sophia on the Golden Girls would say, picture it, Sicily, 1900. I say picture it, Blinn College, 1974. Not many buildings on the Brenham campus, as you heard, just starting up in Bryan, expanding into the Kraft building as we did at that time. Yes, in 1974, there was this 31-year-old young banker finance man in Brenham who just loved Blinn College. Encouraged by trustee Sam Winkleman Sr. to make a difference in Blinn College, I filed for a position as a trustee, probably the youngest person ever to challenge the statement, but we don't do it that way. But Dr. James Atkinson was president, probably didn't take too kindly to this young whippersnapper being elected to the board, but we became best of friends and have always been a team effort, building Blinn College into what it is today. Things were a lot different back at that time. As we had this wonderful lunch today, what we had at that time was candied orange slices out of the candy jar on the secretary's desk. There were cigars on the table with the ashtrays. All female employees on this campus were not allowed to wear slacks on campus. And if you worked on this campus, you were required to live in Washington County. There were very few telephones. Coffee lounges were unheard of. Shortly before I was elected to the board, I think I was about 24 years old, I wore a pair of dress Bermuda shorts on campus on a Saturday, and I was told to never set foot on this campus again in shorts. So yeah, there have been a lot of changes in 49 years, haven't there? But Blinn celebrated its 91st birthday when I was first elected to the board. We had an exciting centennial celebration back in 1983. Last month, as we sat there enjoying the celebration of the new baseball field house, I recall the building of Leroy Dreyer Field, and the original Blinn Theater in the Round, the renovation of Old Main, the building of the Student Center while I was on the board, the expansion of the campuses into Townshire and Bryan, and the old campus on Harvey Road in College Station. Yeah, we made a lot of risky decisions back at that time, but we didn't know how that was going to affect Blinn College in Brazos County, but look where we are today. Now, we didn't have a lot of money back in those days. Budget was a mere $18 million. We had about enrollment of about 6,500 students. Another interesting thing, I remember Dr. Atkinson coming to the board one evening and asking us to approve the purchase of 20 Radio Shack computers. And he said those will be the last computers we will ever have to build at Blinn College. A lot of changes. But we're a family. We were all a family working together at that time with very little to accomplish so much, making Blinn the best possible institution of higher learning which it is today. Yes, I was proud to be a part of a team with Dr. Atkinson, Mr. Swartz, Dr. Volter, and a short time with Dr. Hensley, many others, and a tremendous faculty, building Blinn into what it is, as I said, today. You know, Dr. Atkinson, Mr. Swartz are gone from us, but their heart still beats here at Blinn College. Now, we all know a ship rises during high tides, and I challenge you to all be the energetic force, the gravitational force to raise the tide, to continue to build Blinn College to greater heights. I'm alarmed as I look at those pictures on the wall of the former trustees, realizing that all before me are gone. I'm the fourth oldest living trustee However, I plan to be here for the sesquicentennial, cutting the cake, saying happy 150th anniversary, Blinn College. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would now like to invite Atwood Conjura, who served 43 years on the board from 1976 through 2019.
Good afternoon. I never liked following Joelle. It only happens once or twice, but I know that's the way you had to do it with chronological. Lori, gonna miss you. The 18 trustees, I know you would look to me as being the most difficult. She always kept me in line with chairman tell me where to be and what to say and everything else. So Blinn College will definitely miss her. Honored to be here in this boardroom. A bunch of great decisions were made, which has resulted in Blinn being the #1 community college in the state. It doesn't happen by accident. It's by a great team. It's surreal, Joelle and I, as a history, Don, when you're pointing out, I think we almost went back to the 1800s with some of that. Had the honor of serving with, looking at the board there, with 6 presidents, including Dr. Hensley here, who one of the financial things that Dr. Volter brought up, and I happen to have that check. I don't know how I got it, but Dean Boehm, Teddy, your father-in-law was Dean Registrar, and it's a check to a faculty member, and I guess this was in the 30s, where he had asked that faculty member not to cash the check for at least a week until they had the financial resources. And we go from that to our moneymaker right here, who has done an outstanding job with cash reserves. Just a couple of things. It's hard to wrap up 43 years in a couple of minutes, but I think the 97, when Dr. Volter and Mr. Barkman and Stephen Adams, we went to New York to beg for $10 million so we could float that bond issue with the city of Bryan. And 10 million now sounds like nothing, but we got turned down by several of the bonding agencies, and finally, help me, Don, who was it that granted? You remember? No, the bonding, was it Moody? Gave us the bonds. And they said, you don't have the financial resources for us to give this to you, but we trust you. We think your presentation warranted, and the rest is history. I mean, with that first campus on Villa Maria, that's to me what was a super turning point. And the team program that was done in 01, and I think it must have been about 10 years later when Dr. Bowen Lofton was president of A&M. He came here, and I'll never forget that we were in the Janice Sneed room, and we were talking about Blinn students and A&M students. And for the president of A&M to sit there that day and talk about the credibility of the Blinn student, that when they tracked their last 2 years at A&M, their GPA from Blinn was higher than the ones who were admitted as freshmen. Never, ever forget that. And he was a real proponent of Blinn College, and we signed an extension of that team program, which I think has done wonderful through the years. Last thing, and I'll wrap it up, switched gears a little bit and got on the city council, and my city manager, Ms. Miller's there. And one of the things that we are hearing about continuously is housing. Talking a while ago to the A.W. Hody Center, one of the greatest resources for this city, for people who cannot afford housing because they're making $8, $10 an hour. Blinn has afforded them the possibilities of a bunch of different programs to make that $20, $25, and $30 an hour. And if they will take advantage of that, we can solve a lot of this housing issue that's confronting us now. But thank you, Blinn. Thank you, board members, for the opportunity to speak today, and wish you well in the future. Thanks.
Thank you, Trustee Conjura. Trustee Leon Tobin, who was a member of the board from 1992 through 2015, wasn't able to join us today, but he sent the following message. As a former board member for more than 23 years and a proud alum, I want to offer my congratulations on the occasion of Blinn College's 140th anniversary. I am grateful for the residents of Washington County who gave me the opportunity to serve on the board of one of Texas's premier institutions of higher education. I am thankful for the forward-thinking administrators and my fellow board members who worked tirelessly to help ensure Blinn's growth. One of its biggest accomplishments has been the expansion of multiple campuses, which enables us an even greater number of students to take advantage of Blinn's outstanding faculty and resources. I am so proud of Blinn's accomplishments and all it continues to achieve, and I am especially proud that it all started in my hometown. Blinn truly is a feather in Brenham's cap. As we celebrate this exciting milestone, I wish the college continued success in educating the leaders of tomorrow. I would now like to welcome L.J. Lucina, who served 17 years on the board from 1994 through 2011.
Thank you, Chancellor Hensey, members of the board. Appreciate the invitation to be here. I've got a little different perspective than the rest of the board members because I literally grew up across the street, Green Street. So this was my playground, sliding down the old fire escape behind Old Main and some of that stuff as a kid. During my term, I too was a little country lawyer on the trip to New York in '97, selling the bonds. And of course, fortunately, we were successful, and been a very good deal to be in College Station and actually own some land there. And Bryan, I guess I don't want to offend Bryan, but that's where the campus started out. This building, the O'Donnell Theater, a number of things were built here on the Brenham campus in addition to the expansion in the other counties. But it's been an honor to be a part of it. As I say, since as long as I can remember, I lived across the street from Blinn College. So thank you for the invitation to be here.
Thank you. And now I'd like to invite Steve Westbrook, whose service on the board also spanned 17 years, from 1994 through 2011.
Thank you, Dr. Hensley and board. When I got the email and said to share some comments of your time on the board, it's like, okay, this could get kind of go. And then I saw it said 1 to 2 minutes. Okay. So I respect that and go because I've sat there, and have the analogy that your mind can only comprehend what your rear can withstand. So sitting. So I'll be brief and go. But Dr. Volter, thank you for that history. A lot of that is kind of what I had in some of my bullet points here to go in the history of Blinn College, but it's so rich and so good. It was great to work with the board and board members we worked with, and especially Dr. Volter. As you can tell from some of that, the leadership there, and it's good to see that the leadership's continuing here today. But nothing would happen without not only the administration, but faculty and staff and everyone involved in Blinn College. They're the backbone of the whole thing, and we've been very fortunate through the years to have quality faculty, staff, as well as administration. But during my time on the board was an exciting time of growth. As had been mentioned there, we moved from the shopping centers to the Bryan campus. During that time, permanent buildings, Schulenburg campus opened, built new and renovated some buildings here on the Brenham campus as well. And during that time, it's all great. It wasn't all peaches and cream the whole time, but in the end, it was peaches and cream. There's a few little stumbles, little roadblocks that can't be overcome, and unpopular things we may have had to do, but we had to do them in the best interest of the college and the community as well. But Blinn College, as we all know, provides more to students and the community than most people realize. My family is educated here at Blinn College, as well as myself and everyone else. The service area and abroad are touched. Everyone, some shape, form, or fashion, are touched by Blinn College throughout our service area, whether it be workforce education, whether it be academics, or whether it just be anything with Blinn. We're recognized is the most progressive, one of the most progressive, or the most progressive, I'd say, institutions in higher education throughout the state and abroad, especially the dual credit and co-enrollment and the partnership with the universities, the workforce education, as well as academics. Other community colleges don't have the rich history that Blinn College has, and that's something that I, for one, and I know we all in this room are very proud of. I'm glad to have been a part of this history for the time I was here. And a matter of fact, looking at the cake there and looking forward to doing that, I should have brought it, but didn't think about it until I saw the cake. I've got a picture hanging in my office of myself, and David Summer was the chair of the foundation in 2005, and I was chair of the board of trustees. And Gus Mutcher, of course, we just talked about, rest in peace. He was well, Gus had many titles. He got it done. The foundation put that on for the 125th Blinn anniversary, and there's a picture of us cutting the cake for the 125th. So I was glad to be a part of that, and I'm excited to be a part of this 140th. I want to thank the current board, Dr. Hensley, and all the faculty and staff for continuing and building the Blinn legacy for generations to come. And I, for one, am looking forward to another 140 years.
Thank you. And now I'd like to welcome David Summer, a member of the board for 8 years, from 2011 through 2019.
Thank you, Dr. Hensley and Board of Trustees. Like everyone in this office, in this room, I'm awfully proud to be here and to celebrate a lot of accomplishments in this 140 years of Blinn College. Now, I'd love to stand before you and tell you that my 7+ years boardship as a trustee was much more fun than 2 years as a student. But if I would share that, I'd be telling a little bit of a fib. So I have to share with you that back in the early 70s, Dr. Volter was my business professor, and I got to tell you, his classes were a lot more interesting, entertaining, and a lot less stressful than some of those late night trustee board meetings. And again, I thank him for his direction through the years. But again, seriously, I did enjoy my time as a board member on the Board of Trustees. We had challenges. We had some pretty difficult challenges at times, but we had a tremendous amount of success. And as I look back through my term, I think the thing that was most rewarding to me as a trustee was the strengthening and the growth in the partnership with Texas A&M, and namely the Rellis campus that Dr. Volter spoke of earlier. Certainly, I remember that day when I got that phone call from Dr. Hensley sharing that concept, which at that point in time was a major change in direction from where we were headed. But certainly, it has become a tremendous, tremendous success. That partnership has grown, that partnership has strengthened, but not only with Texas A&M, but I frequently read where that partnership is also growing with other colleges and universities, and I applaud you for that. In closing, again, I too want to wish you and Blinn College all the best. Continue to do that great job of educating students through an outstanding faculty, an outstanding staff, leadership, and you as a Board of Trustees. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trustee Summer. Next, I'd like to welcome Carolyn Miller, a member of the board from 2011 through 2015.
Thank you, Dr. Hensley, fellow trustees. 2011 was a time that you got to welcome 2 new board members to the board. Leon Tobin called me up and asked me if I would be interested in serving on the board. Steve Westbrook had stepped down to pursue other interests. And I said, well, that sounds great. So submitted everything for board's consideration. Mr. Conjura came to my office one day and said, I hate to break the news to you, but the board selected David Summer. I said, well, that's wonderful. He's a fellow Aggie. He's a fellow accountant. I don't think they could have picked anyone better. So if I had to lose out to somebody, David was the one. Later that same day, he comes back to my office and he said, you're not going to believe this. We have another vacancy on the board. Johnny Lucina is also stepping down to pursue other interests. And he said, what do you say? And I said, absolutely, I would love to serve. So 2011 was a really good year. David and I were sworn in August. That same meeting, we got to approve the tax rate for the college district. So my finance skills in the local government helped me through that meeting, and then we were off to selecting a new college president. Also, during that time, Susan Meyer joined as the Blinn College Foundation Executive Director, and we accepted the Cruzy family gift for the Cruzy Rec Center during that time. I'm going to jump forward to the 84th legislative session in 2015. Leighton Schubert was our state representative, and we had 3 bills filed by Representative John Rainey in Bryan, focused on the college. House Bill 1903, if you recall, he was wanting to allocate revenue, fees, and contact hour funding from the state to each college campus based on enrollment. We had several meetings at the Capitol with him. Douglas, we went to his office and met with him. And thanks to Leighton Schubert's leadership, his determination, that bill was defeated on the House floor. So thank you very much. That did not pass. There was another bill, House Bill 2138, that required you to post online all your financial reports. That got out of the Higher Education Committee but didn't go any further. Now, the one that's near and dear to my heart, I also had to go on my birthday and testify at the Higher Education Committee hearing that day. We left here about 7 o'clock, and we didn't have the hearing on our bill till after 5, I think. Representative Rainey, we waited the whole day, so that was interesting. But and then the last one that was proposed was House Bill 2621 to add 2 new trustees. So we had 2 new trustees from the Brazos County, Ann Horton and Nancy Berry. So I really enjoyed serving Blinn College, and it's been an honor to speak today. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I'd like to invite Teddy Bain, who was a trustee from 2013 through 2021. And Teddy's husband, Dr. Henry Bain, served on the board for 33 years, from 1980 through 2013. We can just take the mic to you.
Thank you, Julie. Well, it's certainly a great feeling for me to be here today. And can you hear me?
Could someone hold the mic for Teddy, please? Thank you.
Okay. If it's too loud, we'll holler at me. Okay. Well, I'm Teddy Bain, a past board member, and also the wife of a past board member, and the daughter of a daughter-in-law of a past dean of Blinn. When I was a trustee on the Blinn board, it was an exciting time. Blinn had a lot of growth during those years. And the Rellis campus got going big time and strong in College Station and all. And here in Brenham, there was also a lot of growth. For example, the new science, technology, engineering, and innovation building. So, and it's great to see the Blinn celebrating its 140th birthday. So I'm so happy I could be here today for that.
Thank you. You heard Carolyn Miller talk about a particular bill that was filed by Representative John Rainey, which ultimately passed. And the bill that passed said words to the effect of that the Commissioners Court in Brazos County will be able to appoint 2 trustees for 2 years and then another 2 years to the Blinn Board of Trustees. This had never happened before in the state of Texas, to have elected representatives who were not from the taxing district. And so we had the first year and then subsequently others, but the first 2 were Ann Horton and Nancy Berry. Unfortunately, Ann Horton was a member from 2015 to 2019, and she so wanted to be here today, but she was unable to, and she sent the following note, which I am pleased to read. I am so honored that you would invite me to participate in this historic anniversary for Blinn. Sadly, I can't attend because I will be in El Salvador with mission teams. Blinn is having a profound impact on so many young people. The breadth of Blinn's reach is amazing. Who could have imagined 140 years ago that students would be able to choose from such a wide spectrum of course offerings? Please congratulate the board and everyone associated with Blinn for me. At the same time that Ann was appointed, Nancy Berry was also, and she so wanted to be here today, but could not. She served on the board from 2015 through 2016, and she sent the following message. Congratulations on this important anniversary. I am sorry that I'm not there to help celebrate, but some random thoughts about my time as a trustee I would like to share. When I was appointed to the board, the first meetings were about shared governance, but then things changed rapidly. Blinn had bought a piece of land to expand the Bryan campus at the corner of 2818 and Leonard Road, and had just started to move dirt. Then Chancellor Texas A&M University System Chancellor John Sharp came to us with a proposition. Would Blinn build on the Rellis campus and offer classes to students who would then go on to A&M affiliated universities to earn their degrees? As the saying goes, it was an offer we couldn't refuse, and fortunately, we did not. I don't think anyone imagined the success this partnership would become. I was in favor of this, as was the entire Blinn Board of Trustees, but it has exceeded all of our combined expectations. I am proud to have been a very small part in Blinn at Rellis by being a member of the Board of Trustees. Thank you for that experience, and congratulations on the 140th anniversary. Following that period of time, Dan Gatewood was a trustee. He served from 2018 through 2020. And he planned on coming all the way up until last Friday, where he had a sudden change of plans, and so he sent the following message. My time serving on the Board of Trustees for Blinn College was marked by the grand opening of the Rellis campus on the front end, and the vote to move forward with construction of the Science, Technology, Engineering, and Innovation Building, along with the Prairie Lee housing on the back end. In between these bookends were a number of other capital projects geared toward either expansion or repair of facilities. However great all of these outward signs of progress were, that is not what impressed me most about my time on the board. The leadership that was shown between the board and the administration of Blinn College was truly a remarkable experience. I spent over 40 years working in corporate America, and I can say without reservation that I never saw the same commitment to progress from those groups as I did at Blinn. Did the board and administration always agree? Absolutely not. However, there was always a concerted effort to understand each other's viewpoints and respectfully find common ground in order to further the educational opportunities for students and prospective students. That strong desire to compromise when and where necessary to always move forward for the sake of the student population was what impressed me most about my time on the Board of Trustees. That is something rare, and you should be extremely proud of that attribute. Congratulations on this 140th year milestone. At this time, I would like to invite Jason Jennings, who served on the Board of the Trustees from 2018 through 2019.
Chancellor Hensley and members of the board, it's great to be back in this building again. I pulled up and I was like, there's my parking spot, pulled right in. So it feels comfortable. I have served on many boards and many committees during my professional career. One of the highlights of my career is serving as a trustee for Blinn College. Since I'm in healthcare, naturally, I tend to lean towards the health of all things. The health of a community can be directly tied back to how well a community embraces and flourishes with both healthcare and education. In doing some research for today's event, I found that decades of research confirm that increased investment in education leads to increased economic growth. The commitment of this leadership team at Blinn and the Board of Trustees, in fact, has a steadfast commitment to continue to invest in education. To name just a few of these investments I directly witnessed include the opening of Mill Creek Hall, the opening of the Walter C. Schwartz Building, and of course, opening of the Rellis campus. Moreover, education has a spillover effect, where human capital is at least at the heart of innovation, and more educated workforce fosters innovative ideas, leading to more and better jobs. So speaking of better jobs, I'll finish my remarks with a story. You see, Chancellor Hensley was early in her career with Blinn, and I had not had the pleasure to meet Chancellor Hensley or start a relationship with her. But somehow she had her spidey sense up, and she had heard that Baylor Scott and White was going to enter with a program for a certified scrub technician program with a competing college. You see, certified scrub techs are pretty important in the operating room. Needless to say, 1 to 2 phone calls later, Baylor Scott and White and Blinn were conducting a joint press conference for a partnership with the certified scrub techs who would receive their education at Blinn and the on-the-job training at Baylor Scott and White. A true win-win-win outcome, where not only did Baylor Scott and White and Blinn win, but more importantly, the students won. As we just watched the Super Bowl, and unfortunately my Dallas Cowboys were not there again, I think of a quote by the great Vince Lombardi when I think of Blinn College. Perfection is not attainable, but if you chase perfection, excellence can be achieved. To the leadership of Blinn and the Board of Trustees, I encourage you to continue to chase perfection so that excellence can continue to be achieved. Thank you for allowing me to be here and be a part of this special day. Again, congratulations.
Thank you. Former trustees, I can't tell you how wonderful it was to have you share your precious time with us today. If you couldn't tell, I think everyone in the room, certainly I was, clinging onto every word and looking at every photo and remembering the times. Many of you were quite gracious in describing those that were a little bumpy along the way. At this time, I'd like to have us begin a little bit of just the partying part of this presentation. So I'd like to invite all of you, our current and our former trustees, current, if you would just stand behind like we do for a regular photo, and invite the former trustees to come forward. We're going to roll the 140th anniversary cake over to the front. And Chair Colcourse, if you would join me for the front as well. We're going to take a photo. That will be our official 140th anniversary photo. And then afterwards, I'll turn it briefly back over to Chair Colcourse to just take a break.
I get to rub shoulder switching much longer.
I know, it's a good thing.
I can take it more pictures. It's tricky, easy, whole lifetime. Chair Colbert, if I get you just half a step to your left. Perfect. All right, I'm going to count to 3 and then take the photo. And 1, 2, 3. And one more time. 1, 2, 3.
Have them waved. Sorry.
Oh, have them wave?
Yeah, if I can trade places with you. Sorry. Sorry. My grandma was in the trapeze, so I should be able to do that. Okay, so if y'all could all wave at the camera.
Wait,
Thank you. Perfect.
that's different.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
So for everyone here, I think what we're going to do now is take about a 20-minute break and cut the cake, get some lunch, enjoy yourself, visit with these esteemed former trustees, and then we'll resume the meeting after that. Thank you. It's 1:09 p.m. Yeah, Warden's pretty good. Okay, we're going to go ahead and call the meeting back to order. It's 1:34, and I believe, Dr. Hensley, you're still
I'm still here.
on tap, so there we go.
Trustees, thank you for the opportunity to have a lengthy chancellor's report this meeting. I might remind you that starting in April and May, we won't have any kinds of presentations until September, so we're making up in length all in one meeting. But I thought it was important, as you heard the history of Blinn College, that we also turn to look forward to the future of Blinn College. And in that respect, I'd like to invite Dr. Joyce Lannenegger. She's the Dean of Academic Support Services, to the podium, and she's going to share with you a little bit about our Future Works Academy. You've heard of it before. She's giving another update on it. And for our Future Works scholars, I'd like to welcome you personally and tell you thank you. I hope that you enjoyed the opportunity to hear from former trustees and how Blinn became what it is today. And our hope and trust, of course, is that you will carry it forward into your futures as well. Once we finish with Dr. Lannenegger and her presentation, trustees, then I'll stop my report and return it back to the regular meeting with Chair Colkhorst. Welcome, Joyce.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hensley, Chair Colkhorst, members of the board, and others in the audience. As Dr. Hensley has shared, I'm Joyce Lannenegger, and one of the great things I get to do at Blinn College is coordinate and direct our Future Works Leadership Academy. This is a nationally recognized academy, and we really encourage people to lead from every chair in the room. We are currently in our 7th year as a program, and I'm going to give you just a few of the highlights because we'll probably be coming back and presenting a little bit more detail about Future Works at a future meeting. We have a multifold purpose in Future Works. The first of these is to prepare leaders for Blinn College. And we do that by having our Future Works Academy members, who we call Future Works Fellows, train and also meet with members of our executive leadership team. Another of our goals is to build relationships across the district. And when I introduce our members of Future Works Class 7, you're going to learn that they come from different areas of the college, different campuses, and have different roles at the college. Together, they've worked this year doing everything from ziplining to building towers with marshmallows and spaghetti. And finally, we're an incubator for frontline innovation. Our previous Future Works classes have created a learning management system online orientation for our students, a faculty and staff student mentoring program, a veterans preferential registration program, a student peer mentoring program, and professional learning communities. And this year, our Future Works Academy members are busy at work working on 2 projects, one of which focuses on communication with students, and another focuses on better ways to engage our students. And I invite you to join us at 12:45 on April 21st, right here in this room, to actually hear the proposals and presentations that this year's Future Works class has. Our FutureWorks Class 7 has 20 members in it. But first, I'd like to introduce and recognize my co-facilitators who are in the room. Good. Executive Dean Chris Mars from the Rellis campus, who works with the class on leadership theory, and Psychology Department Chair and Professor Rachel Gallardo, who works with the class on the psychology behind leadership theory and turning that theory into practice. Chris and Rachel have truly brought the FutureWorks Academy into the next level. And now I'd like to introduce our class members, and I'm going to do that by their area within the college and tell you a little bit about their position and their home campus. Many of them have district-wide responsibilities, so I'll share the campus where you would most likely find them. From our academic affairs area, Parallel Studies Department Head and Professor Sandra Chumchall, who's on our Bryan campus. Philosophy Professor Wes Gurley, who's on our Brenham campus. Dr. April Kincaid, Dean for Humanities on our Bryan campus. Dr. Dawn Marshall, Anthropology Professor from our Bryan campus. Psychology Professor Justin Meyer from our Brenham campus. And joining us by Zoom is Kevin Patrick, who is our theater arts professor here on our Brenham campus. Unable to join us today are Dr. Shelley Peacock, Assistant Dean, Art, Kinesiology, and Agriculture, Dr. Shawanda Stanford, Biology Professor on our Bryan campus, and Government Department Head and Professor J.P. Winston from our Rellis campus. We're very lucky this year to have two participants from our academic technology program, because I tell you, anytime we have computer trouble, we've got Will Davidson, who's our video systems coordinator from our Bryan campus in the room, as well as Dr. John Rice, who is our academic technology specialist from the Bryan campus. From Applied Sciences, Workforce and Economic Development, we have Anthony Garcia, who is our Perkins coordinator on the Bryan campus. And from Human Resources, we have Dr. Adrian McCain, Dean of Title IX, Institutional Diversity and Equity here on the Brenham campus. Then from our Student Services area, I would like to introduce the following FutureWorks Fellows. Brandy Dahlquist, who is our Student Activities Specialist here in Brenham. Cindy Klausmeyer, our Reports Coordinator on the Brenham campus. Kelly Flasowski, who is our Transcript Analyst on the Brenham campus. Dr. Kenneth Masinda, the Dean for Student Engagement on the Brenham campus. Sally Pacheco, Financial Aid Specialist and soon-to-be Academic Advisor here on the Brenham campus. Kristen Westbrook, Coordinator for Campus Recreation on the Brenham campus. And Kirsten Williams, Coordinator of Student Leadership and Activities on the Rellis campus, who was also unable to join us today. I present to you FutureWorks Class 7. Getting to know the members of FutureWorks Class 7 this year, I can tell you from Chris, Rachel's, and my perspective, the future of Blinn College is in great hands. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Neliger. Thank you to all of our scholars. We're so proud of you, and I just can't imagine what you're going to do for this college in the coming decades, but I know that we're going to be in excellent hands, so congratulations to each of you. And finally, Chair Colkhorst and trustees, this concludes my report, and I'll return the podium to Chair Colkhorst.
Okay, thank you so much. Tiffany, could you make sure that the trustees receive the date that those proposals are going to be placed just so we'll have an idea and have it on our calendar in case we can make it? That would be great. Okay, we now move into the consent item portion of our agenda. All items listed in this portion of the agenda are considered to be routine by the Board of Trustees and will be enacted upon one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a trustee so requests, in which event the item will be removed from consent and considered in discussion and possible action. Trustees receive agenda materials in advance of the meeting, prepare for the business to be conducted. Item A is approval of minutes for the February 21st, 2023 regular meeting. And item B is the ratification of employment contracts for the Executive Council employees for fiscal year 2023-2024. I would entertain a motion for approval.
Do you need two separate motions or one motion?
One motion.
Okay, I move that we accept the consent decree items as presented.
Trustee Wells,
Second.
Trustee Mosier. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much. We will now move on to item 6, discussion possible action items. 6A, approval of tuition and fees for fiscal year 2023-2024. Mr. Cervantes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Dr. Hensley, members of the board. Today is let's see if I can get this. Today is a continuation of our discussion that we had last month for proposed tuition and fees that we had at the Budget Audit Investment Finance Committee first, and then at the regular board meeting.
Mr. Cervantes, we're going to interrupt you just for a second.
I believe our future works scholars may want to go ahead and step out. You're welcome to stay for the board meeting, but if not, please go ahead and feel free to leave at this time.
I appreciate those people that stayed. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's good. It's good that they hear this kind of discussion, so I do appreciate that. So this is a continuation of our discussion that we had last month, Mr. Chairman, both at the BAF and then a couple of weeks ago at our regular meeting. So I'm going to go through the discussion as probably quicker than I had the others. Although you can feel free to stop me as we go through there for any comments or discussion. The other part of what I usually do with these sort of presentations, I begin to condense them down. So this is the first one was a summary of the BAF, and now this is a summary of the last one. But we've done something a little bit different. There were some inquiries and some comments made about housing. So we've inserted some slides in there from the 2 weeks ago, the discussion that we had, and to at least update the board where we are at this point in time in terms of those items. So with the chair's permission, if we can ask Dr. McBride to come out and make those presentations when we get to those slides. Thanks, sir. So the proposed tuition and scenario, you point to this, that we are proposing for 2024 is a $2 increase in in-district rates, a $2 increase for out-of-district rates, and a $1 increase for non-resident, and a $2 increase for general fees. And the amount that we expect to generate, if those rates are approved by the board for next year above the budget that we have this year, would be $2.3 million. The proposed housing rate that we are asking for is a 5% average increase. Taking these averages, and there's different amounts in there. Those are based on what we consider to be a reset. We've always prided ourselves on those prices, that there was a cafeteria menu of options that are available to our students, but we felt the need to reset some of those, especially in light of what we were seeing with some of our private partnerships. They too reacted accordingly as what we would have liked them to do. Normally, Servitas for Mill Creek normally has a 3% increase. They moved it up just a little bit, 2.5%, so that was helpful for us, we believe. And then Prairie Lee Servitas took a position for Prairie Lee that they did not have any increases in there. So I think that's going to be positive for our students. This time I'll have Dr. McBride, if you come up and make the next presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Cervantes. Good afternoon, Dr. Hensley, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes about 3 of the slides here in the presentation. On the slide here, one of the questions that came up a few weeks ago was the housing occupancy on campus. So on this slide, you have from fall of 18 all the way through spring of 23, our current semester. I would like to note in the year fall of 20 to spring of 21, if you recall, we went down to single occupancy in our traditional buildings during the pandemic at the height of it in order to stop any kind of illness spreading. So that's why we have such a lower number in terms of the beds available during that year. And then starting in fall of 21, we went back to the occupancy we had prior to them. I would like to note when you look at the beds leased, when you go across the screen, you can see from semester to semester, so from fall to fall and spring to spring, we have had an increase the past few years in getting more students in the residence halls. And I think that's due to an increase of students attending the Brenham campus. As we have more students on the campus, we have more students in our residence halls. On this slide, we have here the demographics. One of the other things that had arrived a couple weeks ago was questions on students who do not live on campus. So the students that do live on campus, the numbers we just looked at, housing does send a survey to those students every full semester. So we do inquire if they're returning to us and what their plans are. So we've been talking with them for years, and more recently, we just sent out last week a survey to the students who attend Brenham, one course at least on campus, that are not living in the halls. Now, it's too early to give any results because it's only been open a little over a week. So we don't have all that information just yet, but I wanted you to see how far these students are from the campus. You can see the majority of them are within 50 miles of the Brenham campus, their home address. Wanted to note that. And things that we're doing moving forward in getting students on campus, just to share that, we've increased our marketing for housing. So any student that has applied to the Brenham campus using that CRM software, we're sending messages to them whether they say they want housing or not. We're communicating with them. We're also going to be sending messages to their guardians or parents about housing so they know that there are options here for their student if they like to do that. After spring break, is when we approach the returning students on the Brenham campus. So after the break, we'll be working and marketing with them about doing their application for housing for next year in addition to registration. We have 4 registration events on this campus, 2 in March and 2 in April, to encourage students to get ready for the next semester. And we're also going to have a large event to encourage them to fill out their housing application. And that's going to be new for us this spring semester. We're also working with Rich Bray's department in marketing all of the students. We have juniors and seniors in high school that are receiving mailers from us. There's going to be a large registration mailer that goes out next month and highlights housing and options for students. There's about 4,300 students that will receive that. An additional, I want to say 4,000 that we've gathered between College Board, the Niche website, and interests that have come through our website. So a total of 8,300 students will be receiving a physical mailing at home that the parents will see in terms of options here with the Brenham campus. And on here is just, my last slide is student demographics. So the students that received the surveys, 957. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, all of these students were at least enrolled in 1 in-person class. So they could have 3 online courses, but have 1 class here on this campus. You can see the breakdown. And we'll report when we have the information, but right now it is too early in the process with the week out in the survey to share any results. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McBride. So the proposed meal plan rates for next year are a 5% increase average. As we all know, inflation is much higher than that. In fact, I wanted to take the opportunity to say for all of the areas that we're asking for increases, whether it be tuition and fees, whether it be housing, they're all less than the price of, or what the inflation rate that we're experiencing right now. So I don't think Ms. Benke is not on the line. I was going to explain a little bit about this negative, but she probably has it. So the amount that would be generated in fiscal year '24 greater than the budget for this year, if these rates are approved, would be $233,000. I'm going to jump into the salary information for fiscal year '24. We're not voting on this. We won't vote on it till June, and we will continue to have discussions about it, as that bottom bullet says, as we work our way through the budget process. The estimated costs, we're showing you the 1% that I showed you last time, a little bit over $550,000. That includes benefits. So these are some of the options that we have been considering. This is a variation of what we did in fiscal year '23, except we've lowered these amounts. We had 6% and 5% for this year, fiscal year '23. This is one of the options that we would give a 4% increase for full-time employees above the median salary and a 5% for employees that are below the median salary. Median salary right now is $57,100. That could change a little bit, but probably not much. This would result in a cost of $2.4 million, including the benefits. If another option that we chose, instead of differentiating this, we just said a 5% increase in full-time salaries, that cost of that would be $2.8 million, also including the benefits. A third option, and this is the one, we did this one this year. We've done this one sort of thing, not the 5%, but the increases have come pretty much on a regular basis. This is the one that certainly since I've been here, we've not done. So this one's different. And instead of taking funds out of operations, we would take them from our reserves. So what this is suggesting is that we would take $1,500, a one-time payment that we would take from reserves, and the cost of that for all full-time employees, and the cost of that would be $1.4 million. Now, it's important to say that this could be in conjunction with one of these two, and certainly this one too. Could be done on its own, so it's just another option that we have available to us. The one difference, other than the reserves, that also affects this one is this will not increase the base salary for all the employees. It will be a one-time shot, non-recurring, that we would offer this upcoming fiscal year. The last option is, this was a request to increase the base faculty pay from $45,000 to $52,000. The cost of that, including benefits, would be $333,000. So we've inserted all those into the 1% salary increase. There's the cost of that. I did have some news, and this is always, Mr. Chairman, this is always a evolving environment. And so here's one that we do not have the answer yet, but in speaking to some folks from ERS, they had been speaking in front of the legislature, and the request that they made was for no increases in health insurance for the biennium. Now, that's not been voted on yet. We won't know until June, but that's good news. So we're leaving the 3% in there, at least for the time being, until we learn a little bit more. There's the faculty the base pay increases. These are not any different than what we've done before. This one is a little bit different. We have entered in an additional amount available to our departments across the board, the district, for consumables, services, and travel associated with inflation. Everything's going up. And so we put $560,000 in there. We still see and hope to see that the 2011 bond payment will go away next year. That would mean $1.3 million that we will not have to pay next year, because that one will have been fully paid. We have increase in interest. We continue to see increasing rates. I think they're above 5% now in some of our CDs and also in our treasury. So this is a fairly conservative number. My guess, because we would probably do more than the 1% salary increase, that we have some latitude there to increase that. Right now, we see a decrease in state appropriations. There has been a bill that has been passed that would be effective September 1. And when we've talked about the committee or the commission that had been formed to look at the formula for community colleges, and there has been a bill passed. It's early. It just began, so we're not sure where that's going to go. But right now, this is based on the coordinating board's initial request for state appropriations for all the community colleges. This plugs in our 2, 1, and 2 increase to 2.3, and then the rates that we just described in the parking I'm going to see in a little bit. This would add, Mr. Chairman, so our cost, our revenue actually would be more than the cost to the plus of almost $1 million, and even more so if the insurance ends up going away. But if we go higher than the 1%, which I'm guessing that we probably will, then we'll have to figure out some of these other scenarios and changes. And we have run some numbers. We believe we'll be able to do that. Parking, we're asking for a $10 increase from $225 to $235 for the whole year. That would add an additional $65,000 to our budget. And then for a semester, just $5 of minimum increase, which only would add a $5,000 more. Most of the students, and that's why this number is so large, choose the annual amount. We have some health sciences fees in particular. These are pass-through costs. The costs have gone up for these services, and we pass them on to the students so that they do not come back to the college. And then the same with some of these are also pass-through costs. First day book fee, as we said last time, we're trying to remove all the first day book fees and replace them with this $24 first day complete, which would begin in next fiscal year. And then a couple other course fees that we would also need the board to, when they voted, to remove these also. And that's the end of my presentation, Mr. Chairman.
Just a couple of questions for me, and I'm sure these guys may have some questions. On the survey that we're doing, I know at the budget meeting we talked about checking with other institutions in their housing rates and how we compare and that type of thing. That's not part of the survey that we're talking about right now, right? No.
Oh, that's a different one, Mr. Chairman.
And we are still going to do
we
that.
We have some preliminary information. We need time, I believe, to vet it. And the reason why I say that, when I first arrived here at Blinn, one of the comparisons that I saw was with universities to see how much they would charge, how much Texas A&M. Well, we really can't compare that.
Right.
And so we're kind of in the same boat with some of the preliminary information that we received from the community colleges. Their housing needs are very different than ours. So until we have time, I think we need time to be able to get that presented to the board in a way that I believe will make some sense.
Okay. Second question that I had is, I see the appropriations of, $364,000 less on the bill that is currently presented that we think possibly could get traction. What is the result of that? Do we have any idea?
It is.
Mr. Chairman, I can take that one if you would like me to. As we've talked about with the Community College Finance Commission Bill, House Bill 8, there's several different funding scenarios that have been basically the base tier funding and the performance tier funding. One of the things that we're having delays with is in that bill, there are several items that state this will be set by coordinating board rule. This will be set by the legislature. So for instance, with performance-based funding, with our current success points, the legislature sets a dollar amount per success point. Well, according to HB 8, they have to wait for the legislature to set that dollar amount and what that's going to be for the new performance-based funding. So there are multiple factors in those equations that we discussed that have not been set yet. And quite honestly, we're not sure when the coordinating board is going to set those rules, whether that's going to be during session, after session. We're continuing to work with them on that. However, we will have some calculations. We're working with TAC on that. There will be financial analysis run on this based on these new formulas. And as soon as we have the dollar amount, we will get that to you as soon as we have it. As we stated earlier, I'm not anticipating getting that earlier than spring break, but as soon as we have those dollar figures, we will get that to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Trustees, I encourage you, if you haven't already seen it on OneNote, look at last week's information. Excellent job done by Leighton. He tried to take a good hard look at the community college finance, what it is saying, but the dollars and the numbers and the weights are not attached to any of the information that we have right now. So you will see a whole entirely new funding structure, completely new. And at least if you have a chance to review that, you can see what all is going to be involved in this new funding structure. What's completely absent is the weights that go with it. So we still, to this point, can't run under any scenario how it's going to be for Blinn, nor can any other community colleges. The community colleges are all actively involved in this, and Leighton and I are literally on calls every day about it. Happy to answer any questions. Leighton will continue to give us updates. If you have any questions after you read the summary that we've placed out there, please call Leighton directly, because in essence, I'm sorry to tell you, that's all we know at this point. It was what was put out there last Thursday or Friday.
So we're making a decision based on what we know, and this is what we know at this point.
That's right. That's right.
Any other thoughts or questions?
And I know we're not voting on the salary information, but between now and May, if there's a way, because the base faculty pay increase request, if there's a way for us to compare other colleges that are close by, maybe even, I'm also thinking school districts, of what their base pay is. I was looking at Lone Star and I couldn't really figure out what it was. So if there's a way to have that information for us in May, because I think that's a very interesting prospect of raising that again.
So we do know what their current situation is. We know what their FY23 is, just as they know ours. But they're all still, well, Leighton, go ahead and hold that up. Why don't you take it from there, and I'll add a little bit more.
Thank you, Dr. Hensley. Trustees, if you look in your board packet under tab 6A in the back, there's a couple of appendixes, and what you're going to see is some rankings based on tuition. But if you go back to page 32 of your packet, you will see the current TAC rankings of community college, and they have it broken down by full-time faculty, and then they also have, if you keep flipping through, you'll see the TAC breakdown on part-time faculty for where we rank. Now, here's the caveat, as the Chancellor just mentioned, this is what we are currently paying. And so the only information that we have is what the other community colleges are currently paying. What they are doing in their own budget cycles, we're unsure of. But you have the rankings where we sit now, and we can look at maybe in a modified ranking as to if we were to raise our salaries, where would we be on this list? Now, of course, that's going to be caveat by that's just what they're currently paying as well.
Trustee Benke, just to add on to that, there is a category here, salary range 1 for master's degree, and it has Blinn at $45,000. I'm presuming that's the one that would be considered a base salary, and then you can see the comparison as you go down or up above on that column for the other institutions.
Any other questions, trustees? Okay.
I would have a question, Mr. Shamani, but the numbers that you projected, like the increases you have in operating budget request and personnel, well, not personnel, we're talking about that, but well, personnel too, but I mean, are you base that on actual expenditures for this year or the current budget year, or how, I mean, what are the increases that you're showing us? What are they calculated on?
So here's my answer to that. We have always had an amount that we have set aside, I call them set-asides, for personnel and operational needs, that for changes that may occur during the year. And the logic being is that you have $120-something million budget. It seems likely that there may be some changes during the year that could occur, and there's some flexibility, some discretion for the administration to be able to make some changes if they see fit, both on the personnel side as well as the operational side. That's part of it. The other part, Mr. Moser, is that those are there also for some of the requests that came in. We had tons of personnel as well as operational requests that came in. This is not part of our effort to try to figure out which one of those we're going to accept and not accept, but have a space there that we've allotted in the event we will make some decisions, and that will come out of that particular bucket, if that makes sense. Does that answer your question, sir? No. So it's two things in those line items. One are things that we can't anticipate, and then the second one is ones that we have not made decisions on yet, and we won't need to until we move forward closer to June.
Any other questions? Hearing no other questions, then I would entertain a motion that the board approve tuition and fees for fiscal year 2023-2024. Trustee Krausen makes the motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Aylard seconds. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, board.
Thank you. Okay, we move on to item B, authorization for the administration to negotiate and execute a contract for roof tile and facade repairs at Old Main on the Blinn Brenham campus. Mr. Cervantes, I can see you're going to turn that one over.
Mr. Chairman, my intentions are to revert back to my previous manner, and that is to turn over the remaining items and the discussion and possible action items to Mr. Feldhake.
Thank you, Mr. Cervantes, and thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman Colcourse, Dr. Hensley, members of the board. I'm here to present to you the remaining agenda items in Category 6. Start off with Agenda Item 6B. This is a request that the board authorize administration to negotiate and execute a contract with CR Systems, Inc. for general contractor services related to the roof tile and facade repairs at the Old Main building here on the Blinn Brenham campus. Generally what this entails, Old Main being the historic building that it is, we are going to reset some of the roof tiles that have come loose. We're going to replace damaged and or missing roof tiles, as well as replacing some flashings around the roof, repointing the brick facades. We're getting some water infiltration through the brick facades, and putting a new concrete cap on top of some of those rounded caps. All that in a manner to protect the building as we move forward. On February 16th, the college received 3 proposals in response to the request for proposals. A scoring committee scored those proposals, and based on the scores, the administration requests that the board authorize administration to negotiate and execute a contract with CR Systems, Inc. for $166,485 for general contractor services related to this roof tile repair and facade repairs at Old Main on the Blinn Brenham campus. CR Systems' proposal is under the budget of $200,000, and they've also indicated that they would be complete by January of 2024. The reason for that is an extended lead time for those custom roof tiles. We have a special roof tile that we have to get made for that. The funding for this is available from the FY23 R&R budget. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions? Quite a difference between the bids in that one.
It is, and we did analyze those. We always ask for detailed breakdowns of their costs, and we did have our consultants look at those. And the main question from our consultants wasn't necessarily why are they low, it's why are the others so high. Their numbers did seem to line up with the budget and the work.
Okay. Hearing no other questions, I would look for a motion that the board authorize the administration to negotiate and execute a contract with CR Systems, Inc. for roof tile and facade repairs at Old Main on the Blinn Brenham campus.
So moved.
Trustee Bohart.
Second.
Trustee Moser. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Moving to item C, the authorization for the administration to negotiate and execute a contract for the parking lot K expansion on the Blinn Brenham campus.
Yes, thank you again.
Sure.
Just to remind the board, this is one of our master plan projects, so very excited to look at this. This request is an authorization for administration to negotiate and execute a contract with Collier Construction from here in Brenham, Texas, for general contractor services related to the Parking Lot K expansion, which Parking Lot K, as you're probably aware, is in the location of the old Solon's Hall that we just tore down last summer in front of the Coatney Center. Currently, that parking lot has about 80 parking spaces. We will be looking to expand that to about 150. So not quite doubling, but getting close, putting an all-new concrete parking lot in. It will also include appropriate site lighting for better safety and security in that area, better student and pedestrian connectivity with sidewalks. We're also looking to put in a pad for our second food trailer in that location, which we've identified that as a good location on campus to provide some additional services to our students. On February 16th, the College District received 6 proposals in response to this request for proposals. A scoring committee scored these proposals, and based on the scores, the administration recommends that the board authorize administration to negotiate and execute a contract with Collier Construction for $1,012,319 for this work at Parking Lot K. Collier's proposal is under our $1.26 million budget, and they have indicated that this would be a summer project. We'll start it after the spring semester, and they will be done by August, so that this will be usable in the fall. Funds for this, again, as a master plan project, are coming out of the unrestricted cash. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions?
I got one.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mosier.
How about that, at the end of Prairie Lee Hall, there's nobody parking in that parking lot down there.
Do you mean the one that was associated with Prairie Lee Hall, kind of the remote parking lot?
Yeah, I mean, the one at the end, not the one behind, I don't know what.
As far as the capacity, or why no students are parking there?
There may be maybe 10 or 15 or 5 or something. Sometimes there's 1 or 2. I'm just curious, is it being utilized, or we just don't have enough people in that dorm, or what?
I would have to look to parking passes and the number of students in the dorms.
Yeah. I'm just curious as to whether or not we had more parking than what we thought we had or something.
Well, when I drive by in the evenings, the main parking around the buildings is pretty full. But that one's not. I think it's just when we get that thing to 90%.
Parking lot that connects or is right up next to Prairie Lee Street is full, pretty full all the time. But the one I'm talking about is the one furthest to the west, east.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious if.
Leighton, could you assist?
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Mosier, let me just a quick reminder on this for the board. The parking lots you're talking about were associated with the approvals for the permits to build those 2 facilities, the Science Building and Prairie Lee Hall. When we built those, part of the approval process with the city is a certain parking spot count number we have to have. So those are more or less dedicated based on the requirements for approval with the city and the process of Prairie Lee and the Science Building. So we had to have a certain number of parking spots allocated to each one of those buildings to pass code in order to get that. So sometimes they do look, as you say, Mr. Mosier, that they're not full or things like that, but that's because those are dedicated to certain projects on campus that we had to have to get those approved.
I think also you'll see that same scenario if you go back on Wheeler Hall on the side. That entire parking lot across the street over there very seldom has any cars in it. But again, you have to comply with city code. And if you think about it, possibly some of those students who are here don't have vehicles to begin with. So you're having to comply with code, and then they may not each have a car.
But as we go forward, if we eliminate dormitories in other parts of the campus, are we going to be accumulating parking lots that won't be?
No, the intent, if you might recall during our master plan discussions, was to allow for added green space. So there may be pockets of additional parking, but primarily when we knock down a dorm, it's going to be green space unless we rebuild on that location.
Any other questions, board? In that case, I would entertain a motion that the board authorize the administration to negotiate and execute a contract with Collier Construction for Parking Lot K expansion on the Blinn Brenham campus. Dr. Krausen makes the motion. Randy Wells, Trustee Wells makes the second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. I know you got to go. Thanks, Dennis. Okay, we will move on to item number D, authorization for the administration to negotiate and execute a contract for mechanical plumbing contractor services for valve replacements in buildings H and G on the Blinn Bryan campus.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. Just as a statement, the next two agenda items are somewhat in parallel, but they can be approved separately or not approved, but I just did want to lay that out there. So this request is that the board authorize administration to negotiate and execute a contract with AW Mechanical Services, LP, for mechanical plumbing contractor services related to a valve replacement at buildings H and G on the Blinn Bryan campus. We've been in a process over the last couple of years of upgrading the building automation systems on the Bryan campus. Those are the electronic systems that run the heating and air systems on campus. And this valve replacement is the mechanical working portion of that. The next agenda item will be for the electronics of that. On February 16th, the college received 2 proposals in response to the request for proposals for mechanical plumbing contractor services. The committee scored those proposals, and based on the committee's scores, the administration requests that the board recommend administration to negotiate and execute a contract with AW Mechanical for $127,000 for the work here at buildings H and G, the valve replacement at H and G. A&W Mechanical has indicated that this can be a summer project, and they would be complete by August of '23. Funds for this are available from the FY23 R&R budget. So with that, I'd stand for any questions.
Any questions? Then I would entertain a motion that the board authorize the administration to negotiate and execute a contract with AW Mechanical Services LP for mechanical plumbing contractor services for valve replacements in buildings H and G on the Blinn Bryan campus. Trustee Ehlert makes the motion.
Second.
Trustee Mosier makes the second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you so much. Moving on to item F, authorization for the administration to negotiate and execute a contract to repair storm-related damages in Blinn College Park Apartments Building 5, 6, and 7 on the Blinn Brenham campus.
Mr. Chairman, this is Leighton Schubert. We missed item E on the
Okay,
agenda.
we don't want to do that. Authorization for the administration to negotiate and execute a contract for building automation system BAS upgrades for building H and G on the Blinn Bryan campus.
Good. Thank you, sir. Again, this is a request that the administration this is a request that the board authorize administration to negotiate and execute a contract with Team Solutions, Inc. For these BAS upgrades in buildings H and G on the Blinn Brenham campus. This was a process we went through board policy CF legal, which allows us use of pre-approved procurement lists through an interlocal contract with the state for certain purchases valued at or above $50,000. Using this process, on February 16th, the college received 1 proposal from a BAS contractor. Based on this proposal, the administration recommends that the board authorize administration to negotiate and execute a contract with Team Solutions, Inc. for $348,500 for these BAS upgrades in buildings H and G. Team Solutions has indicated, similar to the plumbing, the valve replacement project, that this is a summer project and they can complete it by August of '23. Funds for this are available from the FY23 repairs and renovations budget. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mark, just a question. What was the budget on this?
Altogether, with the valves
Okay.
and together, we had budgeted $495,000. So together, we are under budget.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I would look for a motion that the board authorize the administration to negotiate and execute a contract with Team Solutions, Inc. for building automation system upgrades in buildings H and G on the Blinn Bryan campus. Trustee Wells makes the motion. Trustee Ehlert seconds. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. All right. And now on to item F, authorization for the administration to negotiate and execute a contract to repair storm-related damages in Blinn College Park Apartments, Building 5, 6, and 7 on the Blinn Brenham campus.
Very good. All right, so my last one. This is a request that the board authorize administration to negotiate and execute a contract with J.C. Stonewall Construction LP to repair storm-related damages in Blinn College Park Apartments, buildings 5, 6, and 7 on the Blinn Brenham campus. This originated during that freeze we had. We had some flooding happen in 2 units in building 5, 3 units in building 6, and 4 units in building 7. This is to repair those units. We've already gone through the mitigation. And again, this is an insurance-funded project. We use board policy CF Legal, which allows the use of pre-approved procurement lists through an interlocal contract with the state for certain purchases valued at or above $50,000. Using this process on February 17th, the college received 3 proposals from general contractors. Based on these proposals, the administration recommends that the board authorize administration to negotiate and execute a contract with J.C. Stonewall Construction LP for $340,443 to repair damages at the Blinn College Park Apartments, buildings 5, 6, and 7. J.C. Stonewall has indicated an anticipated completion of these repairs by August of '23, meaning that they'll start in the summer so that we don't disturb our students that live out there. So this will be a summer project, and funds for this are available through the insurance funding. So with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions? Hearing none, I
I
will.
move we approve.
Okay, trustee Mosier makes the motion that the board authorize the administration to negotiate and execute a contract with J.C. Stonewall Contractors LP to repair storm-related damages in Blinn College Park Apartments, building 5, 6, and 7 on the Blinn Brenham campus. Looking for a second. Trustee Bohart makes a second. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pelthake. Okay, we now move on to item 7 in our agenda, the executive session portion. It is 2:24, and we're not going to take a break. We're just going to go straight into executive session. Thank you.